Welcome back, everybody. Continue on to Beregost, where we shall inform Officer Vi of what we have done in the bandit encampment. Perhaps they'll give us a suitable amount of time to conclude our story, The History of the Dead 3. So when we last spoke of the trio, Bane, Ball, and Miracle, they were busily fighting amongst themselves, as each believed themselves to be the most worthy of receiving Jurgel's coveted powers. So Jurgel grew tired of watching them fight, and decided to settle the matter in a game of skill. He divided his powers, his portfolio, into 3 separate aspects, and took the 3 skulls of his most prominent Lich Lords, and handed one to each of the trio of mortals. And he said, whoever can bowl their skull the furthest across the Grey Wastes will have first choice of selecting one of my 3 aspects. So the 3 played their game, and just before they could determine who was the winner, Melar, the Beast Lord, essentially Lord of the Wildlife and Nature, had interrupted their game, as he had come on a visit to Jurgel, and he saw for himself that if he could stop the game, he might have a chance to participate himself and claim Jurgel's power. As this is a time when deities are always looking to enhance their potential, he wanted to play the game as well. So the trio, seeing that their sport was ruined, fell into fighting again, as is their nature. Jurgel grew tired of watching them, and he decided to settle it in a game of skill, or rather a game of luck, as the game of skill had not panned out the way he imagined. So he broke off 3 of his skeletal fingers, handed one to each, and they played a game of knucklebones, in the hopes that they could finish their game before Malar had returned from hunting down the skulls. They did finish, just in time, as Malar came too late and watched as the ritual was completed with dejection, that Bane had emerged triumphant, and as such was awarded first choice. He chose to rule as a tyrant, and have complete dominion over the living, and all would be subject to his will. Miracle, who had second choice, chose the kingdom of the dead, as he knew that all things would die, sooner or later, even the gods themselves, and that one day Bane's realm would fall to him. Ball, who was left with the last choice, chose the realm of strife and death, knowing that he could either end Bane's rule by killing his subjects, or deprive Miracle of his kingdom by staying his hand. And so that's the tale of how the 3 mortals ascended to godhood, and Jurgel took his place as a seneschal and instructed the newly risen Lord of Death in his ways. So we'll speak to Officer Vi quickly, having completed our story. It seems she's going to return to Baldur's Gate and issue a report on our deeds here. And as such, our reputation has increased. Fantastic. That's just an example of an unnecessary backstory that I find fascinating, and part of the reason why I love this game so much is just the unnecessary steps they take to fill in information when they can. A couple of wolves, that's all. Try and dispatch them quickly. Continue along. We're taking a sort of roundabout way back to the Cloakwood, trying to see if there's any more areas of interest along the way. Oh, what? There's a ghoul here who has materialized out of nothingness. Carefully now. Hopefully it doesn't paralyze any of us. It didn't. It even had a gold ring for us. So we continue. This is, of course, the site of where we battled against Bacillus, the renegade cleric, and his army of the dead. He's quite insane, but we did put him to rest at long last. Let's explore this canyon here and see if we find anything interesting.
Certainly I shall
as our team slowly begins to complain about how tired they are.
I grow weary. Gorion would be proud of your actions.
Khalid's more upbeat, so that's good. And now he is tired too.
Much clearer with rest. Might we?
Up here, a wolf. A chicken. An odd place for a chicken to be. And it has a name. The name of Mellicamp. Perhaps this wolf was pursuing it.
I'm getting a little...
Speaking to us, or clucking rather. It's calling for help. Caw. I see. A talking chicken, eh? Let's deal with this wolf quickly. Forsooth! Methinks you are no ordinary talking chicken. He's in need of our help. My apologies, good chicken. What has caused your current accursed state? He is Melicamp of Beregost, a mage adept in the mystical arts. He misread an incantation. That seems to be the source of his troubling form. Well, is there anyone that might be able to assist you? I fear I, myself, have little in the way of magical power. There is a tower directly to the west of Beregost. The mage the Lantier makes home there. Melicamp is his apprentice. Perhaps he'll help. To his abode we shall go. I will escort you. And he'll nestle himself in our pack. See, he's actually there. And he is. Melicamp the chicken. Try not to mistake him for dinner. And hopefully he survives the journey to his master, Thalantir, at the High Hedge, I believe. Here we have it. 16 hours to the north.
You have been waylaid
You're under attack by
enemies
skeletons.
and must defend yourself.
Are there any other enemies? Don't see any. Alright, so we're just going to try and rush them as quickly as possible. But have
You're a
3
clear
more
fellow.
vulnerable targets. Step away for now.
I can but try.
Deal with them as best we can. Skeletons aren't terribly difficult to fell. Of course, as I say that, will probably be an unfortunate death by their hands. Just some middling loot. And it seems like Zan has rather leveled up, actually. Fantastic. Let's see what that brings. So no proficiencies, no thieving abilities, but we're more interested in his Book of Spells. He's actually gained an additional level 1 spell, which is doubled by his ring, of course. So we'll try out Blindness with that after we rest. And for level 2 spells, we actually have Horror. That's the spell that has given us such a miserable time against certain spellcasters, sending our allies running for their lives. So we continue to the High Hedge. Hopefully we find rest soon as well. More skeletons.
Time for a bit of a rough and tumble.
We shall deal with them. Continue along the way. Can't quite tell if they're throwing actual pieces of themselves, it seems. They are defeated. They lie still once more.
If you want.
These ones actually have skulls that we might pick up. Just some shields and darts. Let's take a look. It's just the skull of another human being.
My honor, as you will.
How morbid. Perhaps we'll keep it as a trophy for now. This seems to be the place. Could this be the High Hedge? Yes, it is. So this is the manor that the Lantier calls home. See what we can find.
For the group.
I be Thalantir, a mighty mage of Beregost.
He asks if we have magic for sale. He doubts that we can afford the items that he has. We'll see about that. Well, it's rather amusing, actually. You see, I happened to rescue this, talking chicken. And quite obviously, he points out it's a polymorphed being of some kind. Well, I'm quite aware of the mute status of chickens, thank you very much. Yes, this is a transformed man, but it is also a man who claims to be your apprentice, and that is why I brought him here. Melicamp, is that you? He recognizes him. It is I. I see that you two are well acquainted. I must ask, if he is not your student, you do know of him, do you not? He seems like a very strict teacher. He stole from Thalantir, who's quite reverent of his former instructor. He botched the simplest of cantrips when last he observed him. Thalantir is going to attempt to dispel the facade. Took some parchment, a blank spellbook, beat up a pair of bracers, some scrolls. The bracers in his trapped safe. Is there nothing that can be done? I am willing to help however I can. I require a component that he does not have on hand. The head of an undead creature and a simple skeleton skull. Well, how fortunate, we just found one. Alright. So, he has sent us to go and find the skull that we have already, so that will make for a quick quest. We're going to save here real quick, and we shall be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.